Last week, it was alleged that Ibrahim Traoré was nearly assassinated by some group of people. I want you to watch this video, listen to the details of how these guys have been planning to assassinate Ibrahim Traoré, how far they have went to make sure that they bring Ibrahim Traoré down. I'm so happy that we still have some trusted security men around Ibrahim Traoré. According to the news, also, these guys have been rejecting millions of US dollars from these guys that have been wanting to assassinate Ibrahim Traoré. But the body guys, security men, have been rejecting this money. Now, watch this video. You will listen that Ibrahim Traoré is passing through a lot just to make Africa proud. Listen.
Real danger, real threats, carefully planned and carried out with serious intent. Armed attacks, explosions, offers of money for betrayal. And it wasn't just enemies in the bush. These threats came from men in polished shoes, in military uniforms, even in fancy government buildings. When you take on the big powers of the world, it's not just bad press you're up against. You become a target. And Captain Traoré, he's faced more assassination attempts than you've probably got fingers to count. But this one stunned everyone. Before we continue, I want to ask you a question. Do you think Captain Traoré is the best president in Africa right now? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Let's rewind to early 2023. The whole country was glued to their TVs, cheering for their favourite teams in the African Cup of Nations. Streets were calm, families were gathered, and it felt like nothing in the world could go wrong. It was one of those nights when people forgot their worries and just enjoyed the game. But not everyone was watching football. In another part of town, away from the noise, the laughter, and the glowing TV screens, a group of men were working on something very different. They weren't planning a party. They were planning to take down the president. Everything had been timed perfectly. They knew the crowd would be distracted. They guessed security would be a little more relaxed. And they were counting on things staying quiet and predictable. That's when they made their move. A strange device was quietly placed inside a house connected to Captain Ibrahim Traoré. It wasn't there to scare anyone. It was designed to blow up, fast and deadly, and to leave behind nothing but broken walls and unanswered questions. But they didn't stop there. Just in case the bomb didn't go off, or if something went wrong, they had a second plan. And this one was even colder. Early the next morning, while most people were still asleep or nursing a football hangover, the attackers were ready for phase 2. They had fake cars, real weapons, and men hiding along the route where Troare'S motorcade was supposed to pass. Their goal? Create confusion, split up the convoy, slow things down just enough to make the president vulnerable. And once that happened, they were ready to unleash everything they had. Guns, RPGs, no escape. Whoever planned this wasn't guessing. They had been watching the president for weeks. They knew his routine. When he left, when he came back, even when the guards switched shifts. It was the kind of detail you don't get without help from the inside. Or at least someone who knew when to keep quiet. But then out of nowhere, something strange happened. Help didn't come from the local police. It didn't come from Burkina Faso's army either. It came from another country, Russia. A message showed up, reportedly from Russian intelligence, and it didn't mess around. It included names, times, exact locations, and even what kinds of cars were being used in the ambush. And that message, it landed just hours before the bomb was set to go off. Suddenly, everything changed. The device was found and safely shut down. The attackers scattered. The convoy stayed intact. And Traoré? He found out just how close he had come. Not to losing power, but to losing everything. It hit him like a cold wind. Someone, somewhere had already decided he had to go. Not later, not after debate, before his changes could even begin to grow. This wasn't some dramatic scene meant to make headlines or scare the public. No warning shots, no grand statement. It was supposed to be quiet, final, forgotten. But it wasn't. And when investigators started piecing things together, going over every move, every name, every plan, they found something chilling. This wasn't a one-time thing. It was just the start. If you are still watching this video, it means you love it. Why not take out a second and hit that like button? Have you done that? Let us move on to try something else. This time the plan didn't involve tanks, shootouts, or power-hungry soldiers storming in with guns blazing. This one went straight for the heart of Traoré's world, his inner circle. Forget military uniforms and mercenaries. The man behind this new attempt didn't show up with weapons. He arrived quietly, flying in under the radar on a private jet. No press, no official welcome, no fanfare. What he brought wasn't violence. It was something far more tempting: cash. According to sources close to national security, the whole thing was done in whispers. No flashy meetings, no backroom political deals, just quiet conversations with the people who were always just a few steps away from Traoré, his personal guards. But these weren't just any bodyguards. These were the ones who stood right next to him during speeches, the ones who opened doors, cleared rooms, and knew every second of his schedule. They didn't need to sneak past any gates or fences. They were already in the room. And the offer they got, it was simple and terrifying. A mystery man, whose name is still locked up behind layers of government secrecy, reached out to one of the guards while they were off duty. No hints, no riddles, just a straight-up deal. $5 million in cash, no wires, no I owe us, no middlemen, just stacks of physical money ready to hand over. And that wasn't all. He brought ammo, specially made bullets, designed to break through body armour and make sure no one got a second chance. Why all the drama? Because Traoré didn't walk around in tanks or behind shields. He trusted the men around him. If even one of them flipped, there wouldn't be time to stop it. One wrong move, one raised arm, one shot, and it'd be over. The plan even had an escape route ready. Cars standing by, passports waiting, a new life in another country already set up. All that was missing, a traitor. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of going along with the deal, the guards did something no one saw coming. They called a meeting among themselves. Maybe it was fear, maybe loyalty, maybe something else entirely. They made a choice that didn't just protect one man. It may have kept an entire revolution alive. Instead of pocketing the money and vanishing, Traoré's guards handed it all over. Every dollar, every bullet, every single piece of the plan was placed right into the president's hands. People close to him later said he didn't look surprised, not even a little. He just nodded, like he'd been expecting it all along. Because by then it was clear, this wasn't just about enemies in far-off countries or angry leaders in exile. The danger had slipped inside. It was standing in his own hallways. It was trying to whisper through locked doors and shake hands with his most trusted men. What happened next didn't make headlines. No flashing lights, no breaking news. The man behind the bribe vanished quietly. Arrested in total silence, moved to a hidden location only a handful of people knew about. No one said where he was from. No mugshots. No courtroom drama. Nothing. But inside intelligence circles, the alarm bells were ringing. Who had the kind of money to drop $5 million on a secret hit job in one of the poorest nations on earth? Who had bullets that could slice through armour, the kind usually reserved for elite military units? And who had the guts to approach the personal guards of a president known to be one of the most heavily watched men in Africa? No one gave answers, but the silence left a message of its own. What really stood out wasn't who tried to buy them, it was the fact that no one took the deal. These men could have said yes, taken the money, flown out under fake names, and never looked back. But they didn't. They stayed, and in doing that, they didn't just stay loyal to Traoré, they pushed back against something bigger, the idea that everyone can be bought, that with the right price, even the closest allies will sell out. This wasn't some wild firefight or chaotic military standoff. It was a polished, near-perfect plan.